A finished movie may make the production look easy, but the truth is far from it. Even with hundreds of special effects shots, gore, or other high-budget moments, sometimes the simple things are the hardest to capture and keep track of. Watch and see some of the most complicated film shoots for moments you probably didn't think twice about on the big screen. Before you watch, click subscribe. You'll join our notification squad and be the first to know of new Screen Rant content. Tom Cruise is known for doing his own stunts, but so many hours were wasted for a 1-minute plane crash sequence in his remake of The Mummy. The 60-second scene requires 4 different flights so the plane would reach zero gravity levels. Not only did the actors have to be in zero gravity and perform their stunts, but they had to get the proper dialogue and movements down. In all, it took over 60 takes to capture the scene, and a whole lot of time was wasted for a movie which pretty much bombed at the box office. Alfred Hitchcock was a perfectionist when it came to filming. He's used dozens of birds to create horror and a replica of Mount Rushmore to create thrills. But something as simple as a shower was some of his most complicated work. While filming the shocking shower murder for Psycho, Hitchcock had to ensure the angles, timing, and blood-soaked water flow was all just right. The result? A week-long shoot in the small motel bathroom just to capture the legendary scene. The quick cuts and edits were brilliantly placed together, helping to set the whole movie in motion and make each day of filming worth it.
I need some money.
In the 1980s, the 3D craze hit theaters again, and filmmakers pulled all kinds of tricks to make the effects look as realistic as possible. For Friday the 13th 3D, we saw all types of objects get aimed towards the cameras, including knives and fishing poles. Shooting Jason's attacks weren't as complicated as a simple scene early in the film, when a character tosses a wallet directly at the camera. The shot was done dozens and dozens and dozens of times to ensure the 3D effect was centered and perfect. In the end, the toss may be one of the most forgettable scenes, and the 3D effects do not hold up, especially when compared with modern 3D films.
You're breaking the ribs.
Training for a boxing match was brought to all new heights thanks to Rocky and his montages. Along with running up a large section of steps and proclaiming victory, Rocky decides to skip out on the punching bag and train his fists inside of a large walk-in freezer. Sylvester Stallone shot for hours and hours inside the freezing meat locker where the hard meat actually caused the actor to break a knuckle in his hand.
So yeah, 8 o'clock?
In Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Scott orders a random package just to have an encounter with the delivery girl. In a quick shot used to show his intentions, Scott gets the package and tosses it over his shoulder as the box lands perfectly in the garbage. While the final fill makes the whole thing look seamless, Michael Cera had to toss the box 33 times before it actually landed inside of the larger box. Scott Pilgrim may be able to take on the world, but he would never have a shot of taking on the NBA.
Here's Johnny!
The Shining is a masterpiece by Stanley Kubrick, who goes above and beyond when creating his cinematic worlds. The movie features several iconic moments, including the scene where Jack axes down the bathroom door and sticks his face inside the opening. Jack Nicholson is no lumberjack, but he probably could have been. In total, Nicholson had to chop around 60 doors until Kubrick was happy with the footage he captured. Due to his former firefighting training, Nicholson was getting through the wood much easier than anyone expected. Shaun of the Dead presents a funny and humorous take on the zombie film, but also relied on a low budget to craft effects and get the whole thing made. During filming, the zombies and effects didn't create the biggest delays. There was a small moment when Shaun throws his name tag down on the bathroom sink. The way the tag landed was extremely important for Edgar Wright. So important, he had the scene shot over 24 times until he felt like the name tag landed the way he wanted. Eraserhead features a simple shot where the main character opens a door and enters a room. In one angle, we see the character in the hall, and then the scene changes and is shot inside of the actual room. The 2 different angles were shot a whole year apart due to tight budgets from the filmmakers. Starting right where he left off, the character enters the room and filming was able to get underway once again.
This is the One Ring, forged by the Dark Lord Sauron in the fires of Mount Doom.
The world of hobbits is much smaller than humans, and Peter Jackson had to find a way to reflect this accordingly. He could have filmed Frodo and Gandalf on separate sound stages with green screens, but the director wanted to make things look as realistic as possible. Using camera angles and precise positioning of the actors, Jackson filmed the indoor hobbit scenes using forced perspective methods. Both actors appeared on set at the same time, but the days of planning made Frodo look like the hobbit size he was supposed to be.
Ooh.
In The Empire Strikes Back, we visit multiple planets including the snowy and ice-filled Hoth. Shooting things like the large space battle and the Wampa Cave scene were nothing compared to a single shot of Luke Skywalker running through the snow. Luke's simple scene was shot in weather so cold the cameras actually froze up and could not operate. To capture the footage, filmmakers had to shoot from inside a hotel and through an open door. The limited movement and angles still managed to work for the quick scene.
Shut up!
Castaway showcases the great journey a man takes when he becomes stranded on an island and must do anything he can to survive. Naturally, when a person is alone on an island, they will lose weight and grow a lot of hair. To make Tom Hanks look as realistic as possible, all of the early Castaway scenes were filmed, and then Tom Hanks took a year to transform into the bearded and skinny island man. The wait paid off, as Tom Hanks won the Golden Globe for Best Actor and was nominated for Best Actor at the Academy Awards.
Sometimes that thing you're searching for your whole life, it's right there by your side all along.
In Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Star-Lord delivers a touching eulogy for his fallen friend and father figure, Yondu. After seeing the initial cuts and edits of the film, director James Gunn decided Chris Pratt's performance wasn't emotional enough. Instead of bringing back all the actors, Pratt stood in front of a green screen to recreate the speech while the film crew painstakingly had to match the lighting and positioning of the actor. The end result looks like Pratt was a part of the scene, and it seems like no effects were used.
You're dead, jolly man.
The actors in the film Hook are pretty proficient with a sword, but not skilled enough to prevent an accidental cut on Robin Williams' face. The scene where Rufio confronts Peter Pan with a sword was actually shot in reverse, so the sword could start as close to Williams' face as possible. Rufio even learned how to say his lines backwards, so when the scene played forward, no dubbing would be needed.
Now, will you join and take the bounty, sir, or will you be given up?
I volunteer.
Stanley Kubrick is known for his experimental filming and unique techniques. In his 1970s movie Barry Lyndon, Kubrick relied on just candlelight for some of the scenes. The complicated shots burned through a ton of candle wax and actually needed special lenses from NASA to get the footage captured. Too bad not too many of us have ever seen or heard of the film Barry Lyndon. Channing Tatum has had years of dance training and showcased a lot of his skills in the Step Up franchise. When it came time to film the comedy Hail Caesar, Tatum took on a whole new beast: tap dancing. Even with all his formal dance training, Tatum still had to train for 3 months just to learn a 6-minute tap dance routine for the film. That's a lot of tapping for not so much on-screen time.
I need to do something substantial in order to get the attention of the clubs.
Why?
Because they're exclusive and fun, and they lead to a better life.
David Fincher is a known perfectionist when it comes to capturing dialogue, character movements, and all the right scenes. In The Social Network, he took his perfection to a whole new level. For the opening scene in a diner, Fincher shot 99 takes of the actors doing their lines. We are not sure which cut he chose for the final film, but we can imagine editing was a nightmare as he went and reviewed all of the footage.
Talk to me that way, man.
If my answers frighten you, Vincent, then you should cease asking scary questions.
Pulp Fiction was a big and broad movie filled with a lot of actors, a lot of action, and a lot of scenes. To keep his budget as low as possible, Quentin Tarantino used a cheap Kodak film which couldn't handle low-light situations very well. To record the diner scene, the director needed to use an insane amount of lights, and the diner became extremely hot in the process. Actors constantly needed to dab away sweat before each take. Without the lights, the film would have been known as dark fiction instead.
From that day forward, our boy Hercules could do no wrong. He was so hot, steam looked cool.
One of the big songs featured in Hercules is Zero to Hero, as we watch the animated character learn to use his powers and save the day. Along with animated shots of Hercules' heroic acts, we also see the Muses singing the chorus and lyrics to the song. Before the film was fully animated, Disney rented a soundstage and decided to film the Muses in person. Dressed exactly like their animated characters, the Muses performed the whole dance and basically filmed a music video animators could follow for the final production.
Wow, great reflexes.
Spider-Man's Spidey sense is one of his more impressive powers, but we would have been fine seeing the power be used with just a little CG. For the 2002 Spider-Man film, director Sam Raimi insisted Peter Parker's use of Spidey sense be shot using practical effects. With a lunch tray glued to his hand, Tobey Maguire had to not only catch the items, but ensure they were caught in the exact positions needed to make the lunch seem whole again. The scene was clearly shot slower and sped up to make it all look more impressive, but the extent of the simple scene actually extended production an extra day or two. Memento does a lot to mess with a viewer's brain, but the film also was a tough shoot when trying to plan out the scenes and set up the proper sequences. In a quick shot, a small bullet casing rolls on the floor and stops in the frame. Christopher Nolan did everything he could to get the shot, including putting himself on the ground just to blow the casing around with his own air. The movie 12 Monkeys features a lot of sci-fi moments and crazy set designs, but director Terry Gilliam went above and beyond just to get a simple background shot. During a scene where Bruce Willis is extracting his own blood from his body, look closely and you'll see a hamster running on a wheel. What seems like nothing actually took a whole day of filming, just to train the hamster to run on the wheel. You would think there was more productive ways to spend the film's budget. Jaws was notorious for the malfunctioning shark who constantly delayed production and caused problems for everyone on set. To prevent the cast and crew from getting bored, Spielberg had actor Robert Shaw do 50 takes of him assembling a gun. Not the most captivating way to spend time on a film set, but the actor probably had the gun assembly memorized for a long time after the film was released. In Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen, we see a close-up shot of Alice's face transforming into a robot. The shot only takes up 2 seconds of the film, but it literally took months to complete. The special effects team on the film was already done with their end of production, so Michael Bay hired just 3 people to complete the animation. Imagine the nightmares they had after seeing the same shot over and over and over again.
Wang on the wing, passes across the court to Yun Tam. He shoots, he scores! 1-0 Tiger.
In modern movies, filmmakers have the ability to show a Quidditch match with great effects and highly detailed shots. Back in 1982, the process wasn't so easy for the filming of a shuttlecock scene in the Jackie Chan film Dragon Lord. The highly athletic film scene was taped with no special effects and took 40 days just to create the 10-minute scene. The scene is exciting, but maybe they would have been better off with a soccer ball instead.
Babe, you wait here.
Aren't pigs allowed? Not live ones.
As we follow the adventures of a cute pig and Babe, the film makes it seem like the same little piggy is going on his adventure through the whole movie. The production was actually a lot more hectic than the family film lets on. In total, Babe featured 48 different pigs, just for the title role. Add that to the number of other animals in the movie, and you have yourself a mighty pig petting zoo and a whole lot of logistics to figure out on set.
That'll do, pig. That'll do.
Wow, what movie scenes were a big waste of time? Should filmmakers have relied on other methods? Which scenes were the most essential to production? Are there any we missed? Let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to Screen Rant on YouTube so you can stay up to date with our awesome videos. Thanks for watching.